Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Jennifer's Lair. My name's Jennifer. If you're new here, welcome everyone. And I love Halloween. I love all things spooky, love cats and supernatural. And so this is the channel for you if you like all that stuff. Also, before I forget, please, if you haven't already, become a part of our spooky family and subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell for notifications for my newest videos. Okay guys, today we are going to get into a few different things. I'm going to do some chatting as norm. You should already know that's coming. There's also, I would like to share with you guys some magazines that I had found. Well, I started looking at all of these stores like Hy-Vee, and there was Dollar General, and I believe Walmart even had some, and I know Target had some, but I don't think I bought any there, which I came to regret that I didn't buy some of my magazines there, because when you're going through the outline, and it's like, and I mean, when I found these, I think it was like March, April, May. I did find some, like they do come out like monthly. And I also found some just recently at my Dollar General. I believe this was last month's. I've got a ghost one. And then I found this one as well, but this one was like I think in June or a different time. I can't remember, but the thing of it is on this magazine, I know it came out way before the deadline. Like on the spine of the book, it says that this was a July one, which I don't know where it said, but I remember it said something about July on it. And so I was like, well, what in the world? Like, we're getting these like way early. And so, oh yeah, it's right here. Display until 7/11/22. So this was like supposed to be out like July 11th, and this was out like way earlier than what it was supposed to be, and I just love it. I did put this in one of my witchy haul videos because it just fit in. But then they sold all out of these, but they must have found more at our Dollar General because it came back. So, and I really enjoy the cover of the book, and I enjoy a lot of the photos in the book, which we'll get into. Um, but yeah, you can find magazines all year round to keep, you know, for me, Halloween is just not just a day, it's not a holiday, it's a lifestyle. So when I see these things, I'm going to grab them year round. So, like, and I'm happy because, a lot of times you can't really find anything, but I've been lucky enough to find some of these every month. So this came out in June. I had my tooth pulled, and I think it was before, well, I had it cut out. But I went to Dollar General to get some pain medicine for my tooth after my dentist appointment. I think that's when I came across this. And I thought, ghosts. I'm like, oh, I'm buying this because this will be awesome. So that's when I first saw this. And this one is not supposed to be out until display until 9 8 no August 9th, 22. So, I mean, this was out way before its time, too, and so was the witch one. Now, these are like by the same company, and they have different ones. And I'll show you what the company's name is. It's on the spine here. I'm going to just zoom it in for you so you can see what it is. But these books are completely awesome, and I keep finding them like every month at my Dollar General. And I believe that they also, like, what other ones did I find at? I'm looking through all my books because I am going to share all of these with you. I'm going to share, like, what they're like and stuff like that, so you guys can get a feel for them. But it's really cool to, like, not have Halloween or anything spooky and then come across these books like when it's not even Halloween out. And some of these have been out since like June or May or something like that. This one I came across way before its time too. This one, well, but this one's from last year, guys. This one is it was issued for 7/21/20, or 7 or July 12th, 21, so 2021. But then again, this is the same company and everything, and they are just, I love these books. They are so good for reading and stuff like that. And you can find them at Dollar General, and I keep finding them. This one here, though, I did, and this one's not really a spooky one, but I love the night sky. So I had to pick this one up. And this one was at my local Hy-Vee on the newsstand. And now I did see this one, I believe, at Target, and I think I saw this one maybe at Walmart as well. But I love this, and it is so neat. And yep, this is by the same people, the same magazine. I didn't think it was, but yeah, they have amazing taste for their writing of magazines. Now this one's uh a different one altogether. I got this one last year, and it's Supernatural, because you guys know I love Supernatural. So um it's a really good show, guys. If you haven't, check it out. There's Dean and Sam, Jensen and Jared. These guys are awesome because they actually, they play brothers on the show. And in order to get that, like after they got the role and everything, they actually moved in together for a few months. This was before they weren't married or anything yet. This was when the show was first starting out, because they thought that that might help their acting a little bit more. And so they moved in together, and it really did. It made them have this brotherly bond. And now, like, even in their personal lives, they've been, in each other's weddings and all that stuff, and part of their families, and when they have children and stuff like that. And that's really cool to see, like, those guys bonded like that, and they just are really, really close. And I loved Supernatural, and I wish that, I know that they're bringing, like, they're doing a spin-off with the parents now and stuff like that. And that's supposed to be coming out, what, in September or October, I think, or something like that, on WB. So, and I can't wait to watch it. But I love Supernatural. This show is just so awesome. I have my car all decked out and everything because of Supernatural. So, these guys are just so funny. Like Dean's character and everything, he is hilarious. He's also hilarious in real life. So, but here's a picture of them on Baby. Baby is their car, if people don't know. I really do love Supernatural. It's one of my favorite shows. I also like Charmed, the original, not the other kind. The other one, the new one, I just can't get into. Here's another book, guys. It's a Lifetime book. Now this one was, I believe, at my local Hy-Vee, and this one was on display December, or was that November? December 25th, 20. So this one was like, I found a lot of books. Like, I love these books. These magazines. So, if I find them, I'm going to get more of them because I love reading these things. This one's The World's Most Haunted Places, Creepy, Ghostly, and Notorious Spots. And it's got Dracula's Castle, the Queen Mary, the Psycho House, the Tower of London, the Shinings Hotel, and the Amityville Horror House. Whew. And I believe I read this a while back, but I just can't remember all of it. All of what I read. But it does have, like, pictures. Like, here's the Amityville Horror House, which is like freaking amazing. Like, I've heard a lot of stories about that one, and it's me, I just love creepy stuff. I love this stuff. And you know what I would love to see at some point? I would love to see if they have a book just on the Winchester mystery house. There is actually a chapter in this book about it because it is supposedly supposed to be really, really haunted. Now, if you haven't seen the movie, you need to check that movie out because there is a Winchester movie out about the Winchester mystery house and about Sarah Winchester. That was the wife of the man who made the Winchester rifle and bullets and ammunition and all that stuff. So, I mean, you guys need to check that out because, oh my God, I watched that movie and it was completely awesome. Like, I am so obsessed with that house. Like, I want to go see it because I have heard so many things. Like, they used to have like the haunted history channel, like the history channel used to have like these things that were like the shows around Halloween time, and I could never get enough of them. And I taped some of them, but I can't find some of them, and I wish they would bring it back. Like, I really want them to bring this back because I was like, "Oh my God, that would be completely awesome." But they had like the haunted places of, and like they would do Massachusetts, they did New Hampshire, they did Maine, they did Pennsylvania, they did like other like places like that. And then they also did like, I can't remember, I think it was England. They did an episode on England and all of the like ghostly stories, and some of those stories were so awesome. Like, they weren't, all of them weren't just like creepy stories. There was like this one in particular that I really, really liked. Sorry, I kicked the camera, I'm getting excited. But there was this one in particular that I remember. It was about these two boys. They were going to go to prom. And I think I've mentioned this one in a video before, but I'm going to mention it right now because I knew I was going to go off onto this, off on subject. So bear with me, but this is a really good story, so I'm going to tell it. But and I have it on DVD. And I can't remember the place of it, so I'm sorry if I can't remember what the place was or where it took place. But anyways, these two high school guys, they're brothers, they're getting ready for prom. And the one guy's name was Jimmy, and I can't remember the other one. So we're just gonna focus on the one brother had a date and Jimmy didn't have a date. Well, Jimmy decided, well, I'm just going to go anyways so I can just enjoy the night or whatever by myself, or just hang out with my friends and do the things that high schoolers do at these proms. Anyways, he goes alone, or he thinks he's going to go alone until it's kind of getting dark out and there's a bridge that they have to cross. And this bridge was like, it was a wooden older bridge, and it had like a little one of those like little things like with a house on it, so you're going through it in order to, well, it's not really a house, but it's shaped like a little house thing on a bridge. And so they were going to go through that, and before they even got to that, the bridge there was a woman, a girl, and she was wearing, a violet dress, purple violet dress. And so they pull over and they ask her if she needs a ride, where she's going. Do you need a ride? It's getting kind of late and it's getting dark. Would you like a ride? And so she got into the car, and then they were talking. Her and Jimmy hit it off right away. They were like talking and, having fun, and she was laughing and stuff like that. And they were all just, and he goes, Well, I don't know where you were going or where you needed a ride to, but would you like to go to prom with me tonight? And since she was already dressed in a dress and everything, and she looked very nice, Jimmy decided that it was great, that they were going to go together. And so they get out of the car and, they're having a great time at prom. And his brother and his date are having a good time, and Jimmy and Violet's she's having the time of their lives, dancing and having punch or whatever, and just having a great time. Well, then after prom happened or whatever, he notices that Violet's starting to get cold. And so Jimmy goes, you're starting to get cold. Do you want my jacket? And she took his jacket and, kind of wrapped it around her or whatever. And then they got into the car and they were going to give her a ride home. And she goes, they get to where they basically picked her up, and she said, "I'm fine here. I can walk home. I just live like over the bridge over that way." And then she pointed to like a smaller town or whatever. So they were like, "Okay, if, that's what you want to do," because it wasn't that far. I mean, they could see their houses from, just a little bit ago. Like, just for, I mean, you can look and see the houses right from where they were driving or where they dropped her off. So they didn't think anything of it. Once they got home or whatever, the brother turns to Jimmy and goes, "Where's your jacket?" And he goes, "Oh no." Like, he goes, "Oh, the brother was kind of smart, being smart when he asked Jimmy where his jacket was, because he kind of knew where the jacket was. He goes, "Oh, you dummy. You let her have your jacket." And Jimmy's like, "Oh no." He goes, "We'll just go back tomorrow and we'll go house to house and look for it, cuz it was a very small town, so it's like it was nothing to it. They were just going to go house to house and ask for Violet and ask for the jacket back." So the next day comes around and they go back to, where they dropped her off, and they're going through the neighborhood or whatever, and they're knocking on people's doors and they're describing her, and they're telling or asking if anybody knows anyone by the name of. And one of the ladies kind of looked kind of puzzled because she was like, "What?" And so she told them where, Violet had lived or lives. And so the boys were like, "Okay, we'll just go to this house." They go to the house and they knock on the door, and an old lady answers. And they were like, "By chance, does Violet live here?" And the old lady, explains, "That's my daughter." And they kind of looked at each other and they're like, "Wow, I mean, this lady's kind of old to be having a high school daughter that's in high school, and a young daughter like Violet was." And so they were kind of puzzled. And then the old lady steps away from the door for a minute and grabs a picture of Violet and says, "Is this the girl you're looking for?" And they looked at the picture and they're like, "Yes, that's exactly who we're looking for." And then the brother goes, "Yeah, Jimmy lended her his jacket last night because she was cold and they went to prom." And the lady just kind of looked at him, kind of puzzled, like, "What?" And so she goes, "That's my daughter, and she died a long time ago by the bridge." And they kind of just looked at each other like, "What?" And at first, they didn't believe her. They were like, "Whatever, this woman must be out of her mind." And so she told them that there was a cemetery, you know, in that in that town there's a little cemetery, and she told them where exactly where she was buried. And they went to the cemetery, Jimmy and his brother. And on the tombstone, sure enough, there was Jimmy's jacket right on her tombstone waiting for Jimmy. Yeah. Those are the types of stories that I love. There was another one about an older couple. Like all the family was around and the grandmother was passing away. And one of the relatives was sitting out in the hallway quietly on the couch, and she was just sitting there, and she saw her grandfather, and so she knew that like her grandmother was going to pass away shortly after. And sure enough, she got to watch her grandma and grandpa walk away um from, walk right out the door from, and then her grandma passed away, so she knew that, they were together and stuff like that. Those are like the types of stories, like that's like a forever type of love. And those are the types of ghost stories that I really like to, remember and things. So I like to remember some of those nicer ones. But I mean, I do like the spooky ones too, but I really do enjoy those ones in particular. But the Winchester house or whatever, there's like a lot of different stories about that. And I mean, some of the movie did capture some of it of like what Sarah Winchester went through, but there's other stories as well as I think that they didn't really pick up on. But there, that Winchester house was actually on Haunted History. And they did a California one, they did a San Francisco one, now that I think about it. They did a California one, a San Francisco one, and there was another one, I want to say it was like Santa Fe or something like that, or something like that. And then they also did, like, I believe there was Tennessee, and I don't think that they ever got around to doing a Minnesota one, which I would have loved to watch, and or an Iowa one. I don't remember them doing Iowa or Minnesota, and I don't remember them doing some of the other ones. Um, but they had done like a lot of different ones, like from battles and things like that. They would do those particular towns and states that had the battles, like world wars and things like that. Those were the cool ones also, because they had soldiers coming back, because on those battlefields and stuff like that, there's a lot of energy left. There was a lot of energy. There was a lot of lives that were taken on those battlefields. So there is, like, there, when you have a huge amount of energy like that, I believe in, there's no ifs, ands, buts about it. I do believe in ghosts. I do believe that there's energy left over from them, and that's why we can see them, we can hear them. They're sometimes stuck in between worlds. I believe that you can get stuck in between worlds, and you can't cross over because there's something that traumatic happened. I believe that with any traumatic things that happen, I believe that there are ghosts and stuff like that in those areas. There is no ifs, ands, buts about it. I do believe that there is ghosts out there. I mean, my dad has said some things to me about things like in the Waseca County Courthouse there was ghosts or whatever. There was a lot of activity in that courthouse. My dad used to be a maintenance man for the Waseca County Courthouse in Minnesota. And one night, I was still in high school when this happened. I was doing homework or something. I was just hanging out at home, and my dad calls, and he's like, all just, you can tell that there's something not right about this phone call in particular. It seemed like he was just freaking out, and I was like, what is going on? He goes, is your mom home? Is your mom home? Just please go get your mom. So he puts my mom on the phone and he tells her what was going on later on. I didn't get to really hear it at that moment in time, but I knew something wasn't right just because of that phone call that I picked up, and my dad was just like panicking. And he goes, he tells my mom the story. He says, "Yeah, I called the cops." And because the cops weren't that far away from the Waseca County Courthouse, they're just like right. I mean, their parking lot was within like, it wasn't even a block away. It was like right there on the premises, except for in a different building at that point in time. Um, but yeah, I mean, it freaked my dad out so bad. And he goes, and later on, I actually found out that he had seen a ghost that night, and he was transparent. And then he looked at my dad and he just kept walking down the hallway, and my dad said hi to him or whatever. And I don't know, and I did find out like there was some hangings like way long time ago, like we're talking long time ago. Now I don't remember the year, so I'm sorry, I'm not going to tell you the year if I don't know the year, but I do know that there was some hangings at that Waseca County Courthouse like years and years ago. And one of the man's name, his name was Ralph. And I believe that's who my dad was seeing. His name was Ralph. And I can't remember what his crime was or anything like that. I just remember he was maybe one of the very first ones that was hung there. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not 100% on that. So, but I would like to do more research on that because they did have some ghost investigators come out to Waseca County Courthouse, and they did some investigations. They stayed overnight there, whatever. They did some investigations, and they did find out a bunch of stuff. They did find out that tape recorder taped a kid, like a child's voice, laughing. There was something else going on there that night. They got a man's voice saying some things. And I don't know if they ever seen anyone or anything, but my dad on different occasions he saw the man. One time he was just like he went to the break room, or he was walking past the break room door or something. And they have like a whole setup in there, like a lunch area or whatever. So they have a rocking chair in there, and the rocking chair was rocking, but there was no one there. And then newspapers started to go like this in midair, like someone was reading a newspaper, opening and shutting the pages. And so I believe it was Ralph. And then also there was other times where, I don't think they're having so much now because apparently they had a renovation, but renovations, they're known to kind of kick up that energy. And so when you have renovations, you're disturbing the whole situation for them. And so I just find that hard to believe that it's all gone or something now. I don't know. It's To me it's like that doesn't sound right because renovations actually make things it stirs them up more. So I'm not sure 100%, but when my dad was still working there, and this was like in the 2000s as well, um, there was women that worked there late at night, like they were working overtime, so they had to stay later. And they actually had walkie-talkies because one of the women, apparently she went in the bathroom, the light shut off and she got locked in the bathroom and she couldn't get out. And so that's another ghostly thing. And so the women that night, they wouldn't stay there without someone being there with them. So my dad worked maintenance a lot of times, so if he left the building or whatever like that, I think the women were like, we're gonna clean up here and leave, because there was so much stuff going on there, and I would love to like dig around actually find out if there was more people, hung there, whatever, and what year and stuff, because I feel like that energy is still trapped there, and that's why they're having so many issues. Now, a town over from Waseca, Minnesota, there's a town called Owatonna, Minnesota. That place is full of hauntings as well. McKinley School, I've told, is haunted. My grandpa worked for the city, and they have these underground tunnels where they go kind of all over the city and stuff like that, and they were concreting one of them or something at one point. I don't know why they were. And he was like, him and like one other guy was down there, and he told me the story. He like thought that at first, he's like, what is going on? But he told me that they just laid fresh concrete down. They had, those, they had the metal things, so they were making it all flush and pretty and nice and everything. Then all of a sudden his back was turned for like just a couple seconds, and the whatever it was had made handprints. One was like a tiny handprint, the next one was a size up, the next one was a size up, the next one was a size up. Then it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And so he goes over it again with his tool, making it all nice and pretty. Guess what? It happened again. So there is a lot of activity going on. Now, way long time ago, now I need to get my facts straight before I go too much into this, because I'm not going to give you years, I'm not going to give you dates or anything, because I don't really know 100%. But I have been doing some research, but guess what? I forgot. My memory is getting really bad. So I don't remember what years these were, but they used to have that orphanage there. And if you know about the orphanage is a source of a lot of energy. There was a lot of children coming from underground trains. They were bringing them in from everywhere and anywhere, and they were putting them in this orphanage. So they would live in this orphanage, but guess what? It was sad there because they weren't known by name. They were known by a number, and that's it. And they couldn't get the love and attention that was given, that needed to make them feel loved. So a lot of these, and there's a lot of breaking stories. I mean, people that are older now or whatever have made stories, their own stories about living in that orphanage, because and that orphanage was shut down, but my great great grandma, I think it was, she worked there as a security officer at those orphanages, or well, at that orphanage. So you could about imagine, and it was called the State School, I think, orphanage, if I'm correct on that. It's been a while since I've done any digging, and actually, my mother-in-law and I, we actually went there once, and we walked around or whatever, and we saw the tombstones where these kids were buried, and some of them were like 4 months old, 3 months old, died, and there was a fire there. There was a fire at one point in time. There was a fire there, and it killed a lot of the orphans. And they do have them buried, and they have them marked. There's a lot of I believe everyone's got a name. I don't think there was no name ones, but I could be wrong. But there's so much to see there. So if you can make a day, because you're going to need a day to do all this, but there's all kinds of buildings that I didn't even know about that you could tour. And one of them is like, I think it's cabin 5 or 6. I can't remember which one it is, so I'm sorry about this, but one of them is haunted. Like, there's a little boy orphan that haunts the place, and they've actually gotten phone calls from the main orphanage, like the main one you would go see first. There's this huge building and stuff like that, and there's beautiful artwork inside the building and everything. You can walk around and you get to see the toys, and they've got a room set up so you can kind of see what each orphan's room looked like how much room they had and stuff like that. And it had old toys that they used to play with and like balls and a whole bunch of different things that they would play with and stuff like that. It had like a whole bunch of old pictures and things. Um it it's just a really, it's a sad place, but it's like it's an actual place that I like to visit because I like to get my history cuz I'm from around there. So it's important for me to know my history there. I love going there and just being able to, you know, uh feel it out and educate myself and see what happens. See the you know, see all this stuff. But one thing that was creepy about it for me was that I used to live a couple blocks from there and with my ex-fiance. And me and him, we had one cat. We had Corsica, and that was it, my kitty. And there was nothing going on. We lived in an apartment. We lived upstairs on the top floor. So there was like no apartments above us. And there was really, we lived on the end, so there was like nobody really next to us either. It was like on an end of the apartment building. So we lived on the top floor, so there was no one above us. There was no one like, on the side where this particular thing happened. Okay, so I'm going to get into that in a minute. What happened was is we decided to watch a movie, and it's called The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Now this is a real true story. A girl got possessed by the devil and other things. And so, she got really sick and everything, and it showed like, it's a movie made out of this girl, and she became a saint. Um because she died in, she had a choice to go to heaven and walk or whatever and do it, but instead she chose to stay behind to show everybody that there was evil in the world and that there evil exists and everything. And so she became a saint at the end. So I'm sorry, spoiler alert for that if you haven't seen it. But it is such a good movie. And the movie, they have this part that's the real true part of her. The priest is having this exorcism for her, and she is counting the numbers because it's not really her, it's and oh, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about this right now because it's freaking me out a little bit. Because I'll tell you something, it's freaky. I am getting such goosebumps right now. Anyways, um so she's counting, and she's counting in Latin, and she doesn't even know Latin. And so she's counting down, and the countdown isn't her actual voice from the exorcism. So it's like the real deal thing. Anyways, after the movie, I decided to do some research because, I'm curious to know her real name, and I was curious to find pictures and things like that. So I had like a whole file of it on my computer, and including the original soundbite from The Exorcism. So my dumbass, I'm playing it, and in the apartment before we go to bed, I'm like listening to it. I'm like, look, I found the actual thing, and I'm showing him and I'm playing it, and he's fine with it. We're all just okay. And then something weird started happening because, okay, so we went to bed. Everything was fine until the morning time. Now, there was no vibrations or anything like that, so I just want you to know that there was no vibrations. There was nothing going on. But we woke up to a glass shattering. Okay. I had some wine goblets, and they had like sunflowers on them and stuff. They were kind of thin or whatever. And, they have a base, that's round on the bottom, and then it's got the little thing, and then it hooks into the wine glass. So it's one of those. Anyways, they're up on a ledge above our kitchen cupboards. So they're up high, and there's a ledge there. So it's not like they can just fly off, you know what I mean? Like, there's no way for them to fall. Corsica, myself, and my ex fiance, we were all in the bedroom when this happened. Okay, there was nobody around, there was nothing, there was no vibrations, no sounds. The neighbors weren't making noises or whatever. There was nothing. There was just not, there was dead silence. All of a sudden we hear a crash. And I'm just thinking to myself, what the hell was that? And I woke up my ex-fiance, and I told him, I said, there's something going on out there in the kitchen because I just heard it. And he goes, I heard it too. So he goes out, we both go out, we look, and there's a goblet that, like, okay, so the part of the goblet that sits with, like, the round base on it, whatever, it was still standing up above the counters. Like, it was fine. But the part on the top part that goes like this, that holds the actual drink, it was shattered off there. There was no way that could have happened. There was no way for it to shatter like it did. There was just no explanation for it. There was nothing. The neighbors weren't even next to us. There was nothing. There was nothing, no explanation for it at all. And it freaked me out. So then later on down the line, this is like a couple months later, I'm taking pictures of, us or whatever. I'm taking pictures in the apartment, and I blew up the photos, and I can see like faces in the photos of children. Oh my God. It freaked me out. Like, it just freaking freaked me out. And then this is another thing that really was crazy. One night my fiance and I, we were sleeping or whatever, and we both had a dream. And I didn't tell him about my dream, but he started talking about this dream about us having this little girl, and she had little braids, one on each side, so her hair was like braided, like this, and she had like it was like, brownish blondish hair, and she had like, an old style dress on with like a collar and things like that. And I believe she had ties in her hair too, because that's what I remember anyway. She had ties, like little bows in her hair to keep the braids in or whatever. And so he wakes up in the morning, and I don't say anything about the dream because I'm just thinking, it's just a dream, Jennifer. It's just a dream. It's fine. You're good. It's just, and it was a good dream. It wasn't like it was creepy or anything like that. But he's like, I had a dream last night. And I said, really? And I go, can I ask you about the dream before you tell me? I said, was it about a little girl that had braids and blondish brown hair? And he goes, yeah. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And he goes, no. He goes, that was our daughter. And my mouth just about dropped because I didn't say a word to him about having a dream. He came to me with the dream, and I freaked. Like, I was freaking out. So I was like thinking to myself, I'm like, oh my God, like, this is just freaking nuts. Like, what's the odds of us having the same exact dream about this little girl the same exact night? So I kind of got this feeling like there's something going on. Like, we aren't that far from the orphanage, so at this point, and there has been apartment buildings, not the one that we were in, but there was other apartment buildings kind of a couple blocks away that actually were haunted, that people knew that they were haunted for sure. And there was actually a halfway house that's by a gas station. That place is really haunted because my when I lived in a duplex of a house, I lived on the upstairs and there was a couple that lived downstairs. The couple, his wife worked at the halfway house, and she would come home and she would tell me the stories about how they had the third and fourth floors blocked off. They weren't supposed to go up there, and because nobody was going up there, so they had the floors blocked off, and they could hear like kids rolling marbles across the floor and carts being rolled, because that place used to be the orphanage's old hospital. So it was an actual hospital for them when they got sick, or when they had when they had operations and stuff. So some of them probably passed away there. So their energy is there still. But it sounded like, she would tell me there was like balls bouncing and balls rolling across the floor like marbles, it sounded like. And then there was a plant in the window upstairs. And she says that sometimes she'd go to work and it was there, and then the next day it was not in the window anymore, and then the next day it was back. So I mean, the kids upstairs were playing pranks or whatever, and there might have been some doctor energy up there too, we just don't know. But that was another location that's and now these places, keep in mind, they're not that far from the orphanage. They're not that far at all from the orphanage. And I also have heard that people who have lived in the halfway house, because they used to work with us. um I used to work at Truth Hardware. If you're hearing noises, it's Raven. She's playing with this box. She likes to rub up against the box with her claw, or not her claws, but her paws. Anyways, guys, let's get back to what I was talking about. But my one of the girls that I used to work with me at Truth Hardware, because we used to work, I used to work there, and we all worked together, and she would tell me about all the stuff that was happening in the halfway house as well. And she would tell me that there was like this down underground place where you could go underground, and it was like you're not supposed to go down there, but like underground there, apparently tunnels lead all over the place. And there was like writing underneath there, and there's like, all kinds of spooky things going on. And I also feel like at one point someone told me that those tunnels lead all to where the businesses are uptown. So like one of them's like underneath the actual bank. I don't know how true that is, but these tunnels lead all over Owatonna apparently, and people are not supposed to go down there, but some people do. But that's how the kids from the orphanages were coming into town by trains, because they were coming in from underground sometimes, which is crazy to think. But they had steam rolling engines or something like that, and I can't remember, there was some other stuff going on from the past that I don't really remember, but I do know that there's a lot of haunting around the area, and they're not very far from the halfway house is not very far from the orphanage. Those apartments weren't very far from the orphanage, and the apartment where my fiance and I and my cat lived, they weren't that far. And my old work used to that place, let's just put it this way, that place is not untouched either, because one night, and they might have a different setup differently now or whatever, but maintenance was called out to one of the departments one night, because I used to work third shift there. I also used to work second and first shift. So I did like I worked there for a lot of years. But anyways, I like to assemble and I like to run machinery and stuff like that. I like being able to do things like that. It's fun and I learn a lot. I like the technical maintenance part of it too, because I used to be able to, like, well, to a certain extent, I can fix, I could fix my own machines, but that's not the point. Anyways, but I loved, like, when I worked their third shift, it freaked the maintenance guys out there because in one department in particular, there was a light. They had the lights, the overlights hanging from the ceiling, and they were secured and everything like that. But one night in particular, they could not get the dang light from not going like this. The light kept doing it. And the doors are closed because this is an actual, we have air conditioning, so they didn't need the doors open. There are some nights where they did have the doors open, but normally we didn't have the doors open. So the doors were always closed. But that night in particular, the doors were closed or whatever, and so the light was going like this, and it just kept going, swaying back and forth. They could not get it to stop. Excuse me. I believe, because we're like, okay, Truth Hardware, the main building is, because they also have the paint plant, and I don't know how they do it anymore because I'm not there anymore, but um I had to quit when I moved to Iowa here, so, but I worked there for a lot of years. But the paint plant, and my uncle actually, he was a supervisor there too, but a long time ago. Anyways, let's get back to whatever. Oh, excuse me. Oh, starting to yawn. Anyways, let's get back to what I was talking about. We One night or whatever, the maintenance guys, did that or whatever, tried to get it to stop, tried to get the light to stop because it was swaying back and forth really fast. And, we're not, that place, that Truth Hardware is not very far away from the cemetery and from the orphanage and from my old apartment building and from the other apartment building that's supposedly haunted, and it's not that far from the halfway house that people stay in. It's not that far from any of those places. Now, back in the day, these places were different. Like, the fire kind of, changed that whole situation for the orphanage or whatever. The orphanage doesn't look the same as it did a while back. Um, so I mean, it's not the same. Excuse me. I'm yawning yet again. Okay. Anyways, I'm getting off track because I'm starting to yawn. And I was hoping tonight, out of all nights, I was hoping for a thunderstorm because we were getting some rain. And when I first started this video, it was raining. And I was kind of hoping we would hear some thunder and see some lightning. But not really sure where it's at because Weather Channel said it was like 91% chance. And it's really not doing much, which I'm disappointed in because earlier today it was, and I wasn't ready for the video though. But now it's starting to pick up a little bit of rain, but I'm not hearing any thunder, which is, come on, Mother Nature, give me some thunder for my video. I need some, like, natural stuff in my video. Anyways, guys, so we're getting off track again. Anyways, but that orphanage and the all the buildings that are around there and stuff like that, it's laid out different than what it used to be. I mean, if you look at a picture of it, which I don't have one, which I regret now because I'm going into detail about it. Um, but I would have really, really liked to show you, like, the setup it is today versus what it was back in the day, before the fire. But the cemetery is, like, right across the street pretty much from Truth Hardware. So, I mean, those kids could have been playing a prank that night for all we know. I mean, because, I mean, it was swaying. The light was swaying so much, and they couldn't get it to stop. It wasn't stopping. So I don't know what the deal was. I mean, there's air conditioning in there, so it wasn't like there was a breeze or the door open or whatever it was. So I just feel like it was the kids playing a joke or whatever, because it's, like I said, that whole area is full of a lot of history and a lot of stuff. But now they've got a lot of new stuff out there. Like they have a bank that's new built over there, and they've got a bunch of stuff. And I'm curious, as if, wondering, is there anything happening in those areas? Or those buildings, who knows? I mean, we don't know, but I would love to go there again and maybe do a video for you guys. I know that I wanted to purchase a video. They have this video, it's like $25 or something on the orphanage or whatever. It tells the stories and stuff. I don't know, however, if it tells ghost stories, which I would love to hear some of the ghost stories about that place, because I know there's more than just what I'm hearing. I did also hear another one about the main museum building. It was late one night, and I think it was after midnight. It was like about 1 or 2 in the morning, and they got a phone call saying that someone was in the building, and so the cops went over there to check it out, and nobody was there. And now they're thinking that it could have been a possible, and this happens at some points. It happens. Like, there are phone calls that get made to check out that area, and then they trace the phone number back, and guess what? It's a phone that's in the museum itself, because they do have phones in the museum itself for, when visitors call or whatever and want to go there, because this place gets tours all the time. Like, you can do your own tour, or you can pay to someone have a tour, and there's virtual tours as well now, apparently. So and I believe they're free. My mom was telling me about them. So I may have to check that out, because I really, really want to see those things. I mean, I'm into this stuff, and I love the museum. And every time, like, I think that I know, so much more comes up about it, and there's so much more information. But I would love if someone wrote a ghost story book on just the orphanage and all of the, like, ghostly things that happen there. But I feel like, all of the places around there are haunted and have activity because of the traumatic experience that the orphans, went through. And it was a sad thing to happen, because these kids were coming in, and then they weren't even known by names anymore. They were known by numbers. And siblings, they were getting separated and stuff, because one family would take one but not the other, and so the other one was left behind at the orphanage, which was really, really sad. There was actually a story about these sisters that actually were in the orphanage, and one of them got adopted and the other one got left behind, so they got separated. But that wasn't, sadly, that happened a lot in that orphanage. And I mean, it comes out when you see the true stories of these people, because they've made books on it. They made books about their stories and stuff like that. So it's a really unique experience when you go there and see everything. It's just like, it's sad. You go through a lot of emotions. Well, anyways, what I was trying to say about, and also I jumped a bit. So we're going to go back to that dream that my ex-fiance and I had about the little girl. We One day, I just start thinking about this, and I'm like, you know what? let's go to the orphanage and let's go check it out. So me and him spent the day at the orphanage, and we didn't realize that there was other buildings that we could tour. We only just toured the one building. And we went in there, and all of a sudden, like, we were looking at, old photographs of the kids, because there's a lot of them up there in the cases and stuff like that, and on the walls and everything. So we started looking, and sure enough, we found the girl that we both dreamt of. We found her exactly like the dream. She looked exactly like our dreams and everything. My mouth just hit the floor. I was like, what? That freaked me out so much. I was like, oh my God. Like, was she in the apartment and making us dream that, or what? It was freaky as anything to see that photo of the girl that was an orphan there. Oh my gosh. Like, that was just crazy to me. It, I mean, I don't even know. Like, Owatonna is full of hauntings, though. I mean, it really is. Like, in the underground tunnels, there's hauntings. There's hauntings at the halfway house, at the orphanage, and all of those buildings, like those cabins or whatever they want to call them. The cemeteries there. Copeland Woods, I heard, is another really highly haunted area. And then there's also, what other one was? Oh, McKinley School. I guess someone was pushed under in the pool at McKinley School, and they couldn't get up or whatever. I'm not real sure. They couldn't get out of the pool because they were pushed under and there was nobody there. And that's like kind of freaky all in itself. It's like, well, I ain't gonna go swimming there anytime soon. Shit. But yeah, there's a lot of energy in that town, and it's mostly because of the orphans. Now, I don't know if this is true, but Kaplan Woods is kind of, it's a little ways away from the orphanage and things like that. It's like across town, I believe it is. Anyways, some of these kids who didn't survive the surgeries or whatever, I have heard that there's burials out there for those children, and that is why they're having such issues with hauntings out there. I could be wrong. I don't remember. I don't recall, but that's just what I've heard. Now, I don't know for sure. I just know that that's some of what I've heard from Kaplan Woods. Um, but yeah, that place is got a lot of hauntings. Waseca County has some hauntings in the area as well. Like, they do have the Waseca County Courthouse, and then there's the Shook Farm that's a little ways out. That place is haunted. There was a family living there or whatever, and they came home, and they were known to have money, and they put the money in the walls of their house or something to keep it safe because they didn't want people to know. But they came home from church, and sadly, some of them passed away because of they got murdered in their house for the money or whatever. And then when the thieves couldn't find the money in the house because it was in the walls, they burnt the house down. That's what I've heard. That's the story I've heard. I don't know if there's any truth to that or not, but that's just what I've heard. So that's another place that's haunted over there. And there's like places, I believe in Mankato there's places I've heard cemetery. There's some cemeteries and stuff like that that are haunted. I've actually seen a ghost one night. Me and my friends, this was like a long time ago, like I think we were just out of high school. It was probably around maybe 99 or 2000 when this happened. It could have been, yeah, it was around. I think that was the time. Anyways, me and my friends, we decided we were going to go see this girl. Apparently, this girl would she got she was playing hide and go seek and got trapped in one of the old freezers. It shut on her and she ended up freezing to death. And she walks the graveyard like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. People have seen it. So, and it's by this tree that she's buried by. So, we decided that we were like, okay, we're going to go there and we're going to try to see her. So, we go there at night, and keep in mind there's like cornfields around. This cemetery is in the middle of nowhere. Like there's nothing there. No lights from anything, no nothing. I mean the moonlight. That night there was some moonlight, but there wasn't a whole lot of moonlight. So we get out there and we shut the car off and we're just looking around. We're not going out. We're just sitting in the car, and it was a SUV, so there was quite a few of us that were out there. I want to say, let's see, there was me. I'm not going to say names because I'm just trying to keep everybody so I don't get in trouble. I kind of want to say there was 6 or 7 of us out there in the same vehicle. We were all in the same vehicle. We just went out there, turned the lights off, sat in the vehicle, and all of a sudden, me and my other friend, we're sitting in the back, and then there's other seats. And all of a sudden, I'm like, do you see that? And people are like, what? I saw an orb, and it was kind of like there was trees around this cemetery, kind of around the back, the perimeter of the cemetery. There was like trees, and I want to say they were evergreens, but I can't remember. It's been a long time, I want to say they were evergreens, and they were planted so close to each other that you can't really see through them or anything like that. And then there's a bunch of tombstones like in the middle, and then when you're going when where we were sitting, there was like just regular trees. They weren't really evergreens, they were just like regular trees. Maybe there was some evergreens, but I can't remember. It's been a long time since I was out there. But I want to say that this graveyard was over by New Richland or something, maybe possibly, but I can't remember. It's been a long time, guys. But anyways, we were out there and the lights were turned off of our vehicle, and all of a sudden I'm seeing an orb. And this orb is like, a round circle, like, like an orb. And it was glowing, and then it would get dim, and then it would glow, and then it would get dim, and it was almost like it was moving like this when it was doing the getting dim and then going. And I was like, guys, don't you see that? And they were like, what are you talking about? I'm like, don't you see the orb? It's right there and it's glowing. And they were like, nobody else seen it except for me and my friend in the back seat. I'm like, there is an orb right there. Hello. And so, people are just, they don't see it. They're not seeing what I'm seeing. So all of a sudden, like, I'm starting to get like this sad, overwhelming feeling coming over me, and I want to cry. Like, I feel like I'm basically wanting to tear up and cry because I was so sad. Like, I got this really heartbroken feeling of sadness and just, it was just so sad. And I was like, and people are like looking at me like, what is wrong with you? And I said, don't you feel that in your heart? And they're like, they just thought, I don't know what they thought, but I was connected for some reason. Like, I saw what I saw. And so I didn't really feel that right away though, until after I saw the orb, and the orb was like glowing and then getting dim and then growing brighter, and it was floating around, a lot. And then all of a sudden this orb starts coming really close to us, to our vehicle. All of a sudden I see this lady, and she's bending down. I mean, she's sitting down on the ground on her knees, and she's like this. Like, she's got her hands on her face. And she's see-through, and I could, it almost looked like she had like a bonnet on, And her clothes were like, she was wearing a dress, but it was like an old time, like not like a Victor, like not a Victorian dress. It was more of like the era of like Little House on the Prairie, like what they wore or whatever, with like the bonnet and then the dress or whatever. It was almost like that. Well, anyways, like I saw her clear as day. Like she was see through, but I saw her. And all of a sudden, like she got up, turned, and started walking towards the vehicle. Now, no one's seeing this but me and my friend. I said, "Don't you see that, you guys? She's coming right towards us." And they were like, "No, we don't see anything." I said, "Turn on the vehicle. We need to go right now. Like, we just need to go right now." And I still was feeling sad and everything, but then I started feeling a little scared because I'm like, she's coming right, walking right towards our vehicle. And it's like, you need to turn on the ignition. We need to go like right now. And they were like, "Why? I don't understand." I said, "Just please trust me. We need to go right now." So we get out of there. And then after we got out of there, I kind of told my friends what was going on, like what I had seen. And my other friend, she was so shooken up. I don't think she knew what she saw, but I was like, yeah, like we did see something. And so the next day, a couple of my friends and we went back there, and I pointed over to where the orb was, where the woman was bent down and she had her hands like this in her face, like she was crying, and there was sadness, I could tell. And so we went back. We actually got out of the car this time because it was daylight. I made sure to go back when it was daylight because I really wanted to know what was all happening and why I was sensing such sadness from her and what exactly was going on. So we walked over to where the graveyard, or where I seen the lady bent down or whatever. And when I saw why she was so sad. And this is making me feel sad just right now talking about it, because it's like I was sad for her, for sure. Um, so back in the day they didn't have like a lot of vaccinations like we do now for like smallpox and like other you know uh diseases and things that are not that are very catchy that could kill us or whatever. Well, I went back there and I saw that there was a lot of deaths and they were all the same last name as hers. And I saw her tombstone, I saw her grave, and then I saw her children, I saw her husband's grave. And the kids or whatever, some of them died of smallpox. I believe one, I don't remember what the other ones died of, but they died of like different things. But they were young. Like they were young. One of them was just a baby. And so my heart just broke for her. And I was like, oh my God, I believe she was trying to just tell me, she knew I wasn't going to harm the grave sites and everything, that I respected them. But I think she was just trying to let me know why she was so sad. And I don't think she thought that I was going to, disrespect her or her family's gravestones. I don't think she was trying to like scare me or anything, but I was scared because I've never witnessed anything like that before until that night. And I felt so bad for her, like I did. I understood completely why all the sadness. And so I did find a flower and I put it on her grave, and I felt so bad for her. Like, that's got to be horrible having children die so early from all kinds of different, things that had happened. Like, I mean, some of her kids, like, there was one that was a baby, there was a couple that were like, I don't even remember, like two, maybe there was, uh, one was 2 years old, I think it was, and they passed on. And it's like to have to bury your children before you go, that's so hard, you know. And so I was heartbroken for her. I That's all I know. And I was heartbroken for the children and stuff, because it's like, well, that's not right. So but that was kind of my I've never really been at the graveyard like that before. Like, you know, I've always gone like during the daytime, but never so much at night. And I do love hanging out in graveyards, you guys, because I do like looking at the tombstones and stuff. I don't ever disrespect any graves or any of that. I never do. I just like reading the tombstones and seeing them, because I they're all unique in their own way, and I always like to just, you know, look to see who's there and visit. Plus another thing is I used to exercise in the graveyard, because nobody cares what you look like. I'm trying to not keep myself from not yawning. But nobody really cares what you look like and everything. So, I mean, yeah. So, you know what I mean? Like, nobody cares what you look like. You can walk around there and you can do whatever you want. And I used to have picnics in graveyards too, and I was respectful, because I would go see my best friend Tracy and his dad, and I fell asleep there a couple times on the tombstones, or by the tombstones. Tracy's got this really cute tree, and now I haven't been out there for a long time, but it has a wind chime on there. And when the wind blows just right, the wind chime chimes. It's just so relaxing for me out there, that I'll take a blanket and I'll just have like a little picnic out there. And sometimes I stop in when I'm in Wasika. Sometimes I do that with him. And I miss him so much. I mean, it's been a long time since he passed away. It was 2001. He died of a hole in his heart, and he was like one of my best friends I've ever had. And I feel like I'm going to start crying, and I'm trying not to. And his dad was like a second dad to me. I have respect for that family, like a lot of respect. I appreciate each and every one of them, because they let me into their family. And it was like having a family that was, you know, normal for me and stuff like that, because, well, I didn't always get along with my stepmom, so things were a little bit shaky at times. And guess what? Charm decided to mess stuff up. Charm? No. Charm just messed up the video because... Okay. Oops, sorry guys. You're gonna get a little shooken up here. And she's gonna now tip over stuff, because, well, she's being like Charm. No! Get out of there. Get out of there. Come on, move it. I'll be right back, guys. I just gotta pick up a book. Anyways, my family and I, we didn't get along very well, because, well, when you're a teenager, sometimes you don't get along with people like you want to. You don't get along with your family, and since I was the only one from my real mom, I felt a little out of place and out of sorts. So I would go over there, and that would be my escape. And it was like having a normal family, and it kept me grounded and kept me out of trouble. And I appreciated him so much, because his family really saved me in the end there, because I think I would have went down a very destructive path otherwise, and I'm just glad that they kept me grounded and whatnot. So so I'm sorry about that, guys, about the Charm thing. She dropped the book, and the book kind of like fell and hit my tripod, and then, well, that's what happened. Anyways, guys, I'm getting a little off course here, but yeah, Tracy and his dad were really good to me and that whole family. So I appreciate that so much because they didn't have to let me in, but they did. And I love spending time with them because it was like having a normal family, you know, like my family was kind of dysfunctional and broken up a little bit. And I felt so odd and awkward and everything because I was like from a different mom, and my mom wasn't in the picture because she had drug and alcohol problems. So you could about imagine like those like drugs took over her life, like made all the decisions for her. She made them around the drinking for sure. Like, and I wasn't a part of those decisions. So it was basically she picked drugs over me, and I was always struggling to find out what, you know, like why would you do that? Like why would you pick drugs over your own child, you know? And so I was really hurt by that as a kid. I was always trying to figure out like why would she do that? Like why? And it's like I felt like I needed her, you know, and she wasn't even there. So that was a huge problem for me growing up, like not feeling like I was part of my own family. Like I always thought that I was so different because I was from my real mom, and now I'm just I accept it. Like okay, I'm not gonna be like, black and white. Like I am freaking like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's hard being from a blended family, and especially when you have no other siblings from your other mother and you don't have anyone else to really, because you feel like you don't really belong. And sometimes I felt like I was getting pushed out to the outside, and I was the outsider looking in while everybody else is doing stuff. And sometimes I still feel that way, and sometimes I don't go home. Like I don't go home for holidays and things, but it is what it is. Like, there's certain reasons for it. I feel left out. I feel like, there's other things going on there. You know what I mean? Like to make me not feel comfortable. And I feel like if I don't feel comfortable, I'm not going to go because I don't want to not feel included. I don't want to not feel, so I don't go. I just kind of stay to myself for the holidays, and there's reasons behind it. I mean, I'm not going to get into that right now because we are doing a video on spookiness, and I'm getting off topic. So, I'm going to go back to the topic that we are choosing to do, and I'm going to try and get this iPod or this pod thing to straighten up a little bit. iPod. Oh my God. I'm losing my mind tonight, iPod. That is not what I meant to say at all. Okay, you're crooked. Okay, now I've got this back on track. But anyways, since it's real raw here on Jennifer's Lair, you're going to see stuff like that all the time. Because my cats, we got 4 of them, and they get pretty, I don't know, sometimes they just want my attention, so they're knocking stuff down, and it just drives me nuts. But anyways, guys, so that's that. I love cemeteries though, and I think that they're beautiful, and I think that they're the most peaceful place ever, and that I like to go there and hang out because it's important for me, because then I just feel like I'm at peace, and I love having picnics there and falling asleep there and stuff like that, and I just love it. So, but anyways, let's get into the magazines again, because I feel like, this video got off on ghost stories because, well, of course, my first one was ghosts. And here's what it looks like. And they do have some beautiful pictures on the back side of this magazine, guys. So if you look at them, there's like a gargoyle, which is a protector. And you've got a whole bunch. I love this. That is so pretty. I would love to go to some of these. I love graveyards because They have the most beautiful tombstones ever, and I just love going there and like checking things out and doing stuff. Now I haven't had a chance to read this yet, um, but there's I think it's gonna be really cool because they have ghosts, the truth behind the legends and lore, spooky stories, world's most haunted places, mediums, psychics, and more. So like I am loving this stuff because well I live for this. Ooh, they've got some haunted history. I love stuff like this. I live for it. I think it's so cool. A lot of this evolution of the afterlife. They've got a bunch of stuff there, and I'm pretty sure that there's like a lot of the hauntings and stuff might be in this book, or at least I hope so anyways, that I can read about because I love reading about hauntings and like just I love it. There is so many houses though that are haunted, and I just want to like go, and sometimes I want to go there and like do the tours and things. But then again, I'm scared because I don't want to bring anything home with me because those things can attach themselves to you and they can actually possess you if you're not careful. So, I would have to. Oh, look at this. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters. It's got Slimer. I love Ghostbusters. That's one thing. Okay, so since we're on like the thing of that, the subject of Ghostbusters, I am definitely going to do a Halloween movie. Well, I do one every year, a suggestion Halloween movie list because I love doing those. But the thing of it is I'm not sure, like, I need to add more into the list because I try to make them different every year. I mean, to a certain extent. Of course, I cannot replace the classics, like I've said before. Like, classics always have to be part of the list. But I really want to find more. I want to find out more things to add to that list and stuff like that. If you guys have any movie suggestions that you feel like I should be checking out and putting on my list, my suggestion Halloween movie lists, please just leave them in the comments below. And here's all the things that you need for hunting ghosts. I think that's so cool. I mean, I would love to go and experience that. But then again, like I said, I'm scared that they will possess me and they might not leave me alone. Oh, there's the Shining Hotel. Look at that, guys. It's the Shining Hotel. That is awesome. I want to watch Rose Red. I haven't watched that in like forever, and I've been wanting to watch it for a while. And I'm thinking about that's one of the things. Like my mother-in-law, we get together and we watch movies and stuff like that. And I'm thinking about wanting to watch Rose Red with her. I think it would be a good movie to watch. And she might not like it, I don't know, but and right now I'm just kind of going through it. Phantoms or fantasies. Ooh. I really wish they would bring back the haunted history for sure because I love that. They had the reenactments of all the stuff and it would give you a history lesson and then, and then it would reenact the history of it to show why there's a haunting there in the first place. Myths and mysteries. Ooh, legends never die. I'm really excited about this because I really want to watch some. Oh, there's the real Annabelle doll. Okay. So I'm gonna show you. I watched all the Conjuring and Annabelle, and then like Annabelle Returns and all that. I watched all those movies because they're based on a true story. The Warrens, they were a couple that actually collect that stuff. Lorraine Warren and her husband, they were mediums and stuff like that. They would help, they were ghost hunters. They would help people and stuff like that. They passed away just not that long ago, but they made movies on their true stories and their true findings of some of their cases that they've worked on. And this particular doll, it says, "We have a priest come in and bless the museum, including Annabelle. These are prayers that bind the evil, much like an electric fence for a dog." Lorraine Warren, paranormal investigator. And she said that to USA Today, and oh my God, like, her and her husband, they did so many things, and they've got this museum that's of haunting objects of things from their findings. But there's the doll. It's actually a Raggedy Ann doll, and it's been known to be a girl, a little girl inside the doll. Like the spirit of a little girl is in the doll or something. And that freaks me out. Like, holy crap. And the movie, that's Annabelle in the movie. But the original is that doll. But you know what? I feel like if this doll, this Raggedy Ann doll, and what was his name? From, oh my goodness, Robert the doll. I feel like if Robert the doll and Raggedy Ann doll got together, I feel like there would be hell on earth. Because those two dolls are highly, 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 highly haunted. And you need to respect the dolls. Oh, there's the Winchester house. Now, I watched a video and I posted it on my Facebook a little bit today of the Winchester house, but here's a little steak of that. And look at this. There was hallways that would go to nowhere, and look, there's a mirror. And then they had this like secret um like, there would be doors that would open to nowhere, or if you were way up high, the door might just go out to nothing and you could fall out the door. There was 13 steps and 13 staircases and whatever. There was a lot of 13s in that house or whatever. It's crazy there. There's stairways that go nowhere. There's steps that lead to nowhere. She did that because she was trying to avoid the spirits, because her husband, his name was, I want to say, John Winchester, and he was actually the guy that made the Winchester rifle and the ammunition. And she believed that a lot of the spirits that died, that was killed in from the Winchester rifle and the ammunition, had came back and was haunting her. And she went to a psychic, and the psychic told her to pack up and move from Connecticut, where she was, and buy a house and start building. And so she would build and build and build all hours of the night, 24/7. She'd have people working on the house. And she would, make these staircases that went to nowhere, and steps that went to nowhere, and everything else, just to confuse the spirits. So it's been told. So that's why she did what she did. She was trying to confuse the spirits. And so she was making these doors that would go nowhere to nowhere and everything. And she had this seance room where she would talk to the spirits every night at, I believe it was midnight. She would go up there and do a seance and talk to these spirits and try to please the spirits. And so her house was like huge when, I mean, it was always under construction, but that house was so huge. And so I am thinking, I mean, I would love to go out there and tour that house because it's in California, and I don't remember where in California. But I would love to go and see that Winchester house because that Winchester house is just freaking amazing. I keep seeing videos of it and stuff like that, but that's not going to do it for me. Like, I'm going to have to go there. And I believe that it is haunted. They said that it was haunted in one of the videos today. And they do have a picture of Sarah Winchester in a carriage, and it's the only photograph they have of her. And when she passed away, she had a, what was it? She had a door that went within a door, and then it would like open up to another door, and then there was like a safe in there. So that door, that little door would open up, and then it would lead to like eventually lead to a safe. And in the safe, when she passed away, they only found locks of her husband's hair and a lock of her child's hair. Her child died when she was young, like I think it was 7 years old or something like that. And then her husband died a little bit later in life. And so after he passed away, she moved from Connecticut to California, I believe it was, and that's when she started working on and she actually inherited all the money from like the Winchester rifle and all that stuff, so she used that as money to do the to keep building on to the house and whatnot. So that's something that, it's really neat, like that she did that, and it's unexplainable. So it's really, I mean, I think it's kind of cool though. And so I kind of can't wait to actually go and see that house someday. Maybe I'll get lucky and I'll be able to go, but who knows when that's going to happen. And now this book is giving me like movies like Ghost, The Sixth Sense, Ghostbusters. Oh, and my favorite, Harry Potter, and I say that in sarcastic way. It's like, no. Ghost Rider, that was a good one. The Shining was a good one. Samara the Ring. I don't think I've ever seen that one. The Others, I've seen that one. That one was good. Frank Ghost Town. I don't know if I've seen that one. The Ghost, the Amityville Horror, 1979. I don't know if I've ever seen that one. I probably should because, well, I like stuff like that, so why not watch it? Kiss Me Goodbye. I don't know that one either. There's some things I just haven't seen. So eventually, I will have to watch some of this. Ooh, I'm sorry, I'm yawning again. The Shining. I yawn in almost every one of my videos. I just get so tired and I sleep like really crazy right now. Candyman, Candyman. Hmm. Oh, Beetlejuice. I love Beetlejuice. I love Casper the Friendly Ghost. The Ghost of Poltergeist. Oh, yeah. That's a creepy one, too, Poltergeist. It's like, holy cow. Ghost stories. So they've got some ghost stories in this book. And there's some books that they tell you to read. Which, you know what, there are some things that I am going to talk about. I'm going to probably do another video because I have something to show you guys that I think is kind of unique and everything. And there's a story behind it. So I think I will try and do a video on that for you eventually here. And it might be after Halloween, it might not be. I just run out of time a lot on my videos and stuff. So, but here's another book, and I'm going to show you. It's about witches. Ooh, look at that. Oh, that's a pretty stone. Then you've got your sage. You've got some other crystals, crystal clear quartz. And I almost wanted to say that was amethyst, and I'm like, oh my gosh, because I love amethyst, but that isn't. But that other rock by it looks like a fluorite. And then you've got your cards, and I like all these beautiful pictures on the back of these magazines. The truth behind the legends and lore of witches inside their mysterious world, secrets and spells, famous faces of the craft, Salem's tragic tale, modern day magic. So there's that. So I'm just gonna like go through these books and kind of share some with you, and you can like it or not like it, but I just figure why not? What the hell? I mean, it's basically I'm hanging out with you tonight. It was supposed to rain and thunderstorm, but I don't hear any thunder, and I'm disappointed with that because I really, 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 really wanted it to thunder and lightning and do its thing, so I could catch it on this video since we're talking about some creepy stories, and graveyards and ghosts and witches and all that good stuff. A crazy history. They must be talking about the Salem witch trials in this book, which I have actually tried to figure this out. Now, I don't know for a fact or nothing like that, but I kind of like feel like this might be true, but I am trying to track my ancestors because I believe that I one of the women that was actually accused of witchcraft was actually a relation to me. I don't know if I'm still trying to track her down. But she married a Blaisdell, and that's my mother's maiden name, my real mom's maiden name. So I've been trying to track that down. I mean, I don't know. I try to track stuff down all the time because I just find it neat and everything, you know. Oh, there's Samantha from Bewitched. That's such a cute show. I love that show. When I was little, I used to watch all those. I used to watch Bewitched every day. I loved that show. I watched Wonder Woman, of course. I wanted to be Wonder Woman. I loved Bewitched. I loved Scooby Doo. I used to watch Adam's Family, and I used to watch the Monsters, and I used to watch some of the creepy like stuff like that. I love that stuff. And when I was younger, I used to have the Thriller poster hanging on my wall from Michael Jackson's Thriller, which is one of the longest videos in MTV history for videos, which I think is freaking amazing. That video is so good. Like, I'm not a huge Michael Jackson fan anymore. I used to love him when I was younger, but I've kind of grown out of that. Now I'm into like Avril Lavigne because I love her. I just love her attitude. I love all of her songs. I can relate to so many of those songs. I love her so much. I love her attitude and everything. There's not much I don't like about her. She's really awesome. And then I also like Ozzy Osbourne. I love him as well. He is freaking amazing. Even though, he's old now, so I mean, but he still can kick ass and rock out. So it's awesome. But there is so much music I like, but I'm not into country anymore. Like I used to like country, but when I moved here, we that's all we have. We have like this stupid country festival. It's called Country Thunder, and it's like we have to hear the country. And then, for radio stations around the area, if you don't have XM radio or whatever, which I do have it in my car, but um if you don't have it, then you're stuck. And like there's a lot of country and only country a lot of country radio stations. And there's no rock ones. See, I'm used to listen to 93X, 101.7 93X on and it's from Minnesota. They have one in Texas too cuz I think I was trying to play it through iHeartRadio and then I came across there was a 93X in Texas as well, but I like mine from Minneapolis, St. Paul, because man, oh, I love it. They play some older rock, but then they play newer rock as well, and they do a really good job of mixing it all together. I love it. When I was younger, though, I wasn't really into rock music all that much, but I was more into like, pop and everything. Like, I still love Prince. Like, I listen to Prince sometimes because he is so talented. That man was just talented as all hell. It's like, wow. And all the instruments that he played and like, just everything, he was so talented. He did a lot for the music. And nowadays some of these new artists out there, don't get me wrong, I have respect for all of them, but you know what? They don't know what it's like to do all the stuff. Like Prince, I mean, he did a lot of his own stuff. I mean, he produced stuff, he did all of the instruments on his, he didn't have to have a band because he was and he could sing and he could auto tune and he did so much stuff with music, it's not even funny. I just loved it. The sad story of Salem. So they're talking about the Salem witch trials between February 1692 and May 1693. More than 200 people in Massachusetts were accused of witchcraft. 20 were executed. See, that's why I have family out there, and my one of my cousins, her name is Paula. Hey Paula, what's up? If you're watching this, she works right across the street from the Salem Witch Museum, and I would love to go and visit my family out there because I want to spend more than a day or two out there though. Like I want to spend some time out there because I feel like it would be awesome to see my cousins out there and reconnect and my aunt Dottie. Hey Aunt Dottie, if you're watching this, I would just love to reconnect with all of them because I have family out there and there's a park out there named after Blaisdells, I think, or something like that, or nearby. Maybe it's in Maine. But they came over on, I want to say it was the Mayflower, but I'm not 100% sure. But they came over on a ship. And that's, I think that would be cool. Anyways, I would love to go out there and see some family and reconnect and like go to the witch museum and check out all the witchy goodness and like stop in again, maybe possibly. I mean, just hang out there for a good like couple days or maybe 3 or 4 days cuz for me, I don't want to just spend one day there. I want to spend some days there. I think it would just be a good vacation to get away and just be able to see something new and enjoy things because like the hocus pocus stuff is out there. I could go to see the graveyard and the house that was and there's like many other things out there as well to go do and see. They've got the bewitched what was it, like it's like a metal statue thing. I would love to go see that too. And of course, Halloween Happy's out there. Hi, Halloween Happy, if you're watching. I love your channel, by the way. She lives out there now, so I would love to, bump into her there. That'd be awesome. She was in like the People's magazine, I think it was. She's got a YouTube channel. She loves Halloween. It's not just a holiday for her either. It's a lifestyle. For sure. Um yeah, so I would love to see some things. Famous figures in the witch world. They've got some famous things here in this magazine. I am just loving this magazine. I love all of these because they're so neat. Like, I mean, I'm not showing you very many pictures, but They've also got some witches of today. Learn about the roots of the modern Wicca and what really goes on in a comprimary coven. Discover how sorceresses bear become feminist symbols, get the lowdown on witchy wardrobes, and hop on your broomstick and what does it say? And head to these crafty destinations. Cool beans. It's hard for me to read it because it was in this like cursive writing, so I was like, what? Oh, and here's all the symbols for fire, earth, water, air, and I'll show you. That's kind of cool, like the ruins of it. And of course, witchcraft is not what you guys, or well, what people think. You know, people need to do the research before they sit there and go, oh, it's Satanism, it's Satan, it's the devil. You don't know. Like, you have no idea. So everyone just needs to do their research before you even go into that with me, because I'm not dealing with that. Like, you know, the thing of it is I was curious about certain religions, and guess what I did? Before I judged them and said it was devil worship or whatever, I actually went and did some research and educated myself so that I can make a really good judgment on what it was that I was, doing, you know what I mean, what I was like reading up upon. But some of these people, they place judgment before they even educate themselves, because society says this, society says that. Why don't you stop listening to society and actually read and educate yourself, and then you can, put your 2 cents in. But other than that, like, don't just read and educate yourself and be open about things, because I don't believe that one religion is more important than the other. I just don't. I'm like, I keep an open mind to religion because, for me, I just love the feel of, I don't have to be in a confined space to do religion. I don't have to go to a church or a steeple to do that. You know what I mean? Like, you can do it in your own time, in your own way, and you can ground yourself. And it's like with nature and things like that, I just love it. And if you really look back or whatever, the pagans, they were there before Christians were. So, I mean, and people got kind of forced into it. And so you kind of need to like do your research and things, because I just feel like, I feel so much enlightenment, and maybe I shouldn't, but I do. Like, I feel really awesome when my feet are on the ground and like I'm grounding myself. And I'm like, worshiping the trees and stuff, because you know what? When they say dust goes to dust, and we're going back in, well, it makes sense. Like nature, that's what paganism's all about, is nature. Like, you're worshiping the air, fire, and earth, and space, and water. And you're basically, when we die, we're going back in the ground anyways, where we came from. So if you really think about it, you're giving yourself back to the earth. Now, there are some things, it says, know your new age terminology. So there's like a bunch of different terms and stuff like that, like paganism. Now, okay, so the magazine says this is the definition, supposedly. Paganism is the umbrella term for any religion that isn't one of the main world religions, especially those with an emphasis on the worship of nature. Well, it isn't, yeah, so they are right about that. Like, it is the worship of nature. And there's also Satanism in this book. And let's see what it says. Just for the hell of it, let's just read it. Satanism sprang up in the 1960s. The Church of Satan was founded in 1966. Oh my God, 1966, 666. Oh, Jesus. Okay, anyways, and as two main subgroups, Satanism, which views Satan as a patriarch, and alethalist of Satanism, which uses Satan as a symbol of human traits. Wicca is okay. So Satanism, that's Satanism. Wicca is a completely different thing. Let me read it. Wicca is a natural-oriented religion whose rituals and practices are derived from pre-Christian beliefs. Different seeds or different sections incorporate magic and seasonal cycles into their worship. Witchcraft. There's another definition. Witchcraft, as a religious practice, involves magic and is usually associated with a affirmatory for nature. So, I mean, basically, like, a lot of the stuff that I like is, like, basically nature oriented. And it is not Satanism. So, I don't know. It's different. This is what I'm talking about. Read up. It is different. People do not, I mean, I understand, like, you know, people are being preached at in a church and they're being told that, like, paganism is like Satan or whatever, and it's like wrong and everything. You know what? I don't believe that there is one religion that's higher than the other. As long as you're not hurting anybody and you choose to believe whatever you want to believe in it. If you're not hurting anyone or you're not forcing it on someone, because I've been forced, like, there's this one church that my husband used to go to, and I felt, and some of his, like, so-called, well, we'll just say friends, they tried to sit there and, like, make me post stuff on my Facebook about God and all this other stuff. I'm sorry, but you know what? I'm not all that religious. Like, I'm not going to sit there and, like, preach to everyone and try to get everybody, like, about God this and God that and God. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to do that. Like, I am not going to force people to choose a religion. I'm just not going to do it. I really like a whole lot of different religions, and I've actually, like, you know, looked at things and looked at people and saw how awesome some of these religions are. And I'm glad that I educated myself before even, you know, doing this, because all over the world there's different religions. There's religions all over the world that are different than ours. Like, you know, I grew up as a Lutheran or whatever. So, I mean, and I was taught this one way and this one way only. But you know what? Like, when I got older, I started looking at stuff a little bit differently. I started becoming more open minded when it came to religions. And I wasn't going to sit there and just tell myself, well, that's just, you know, that's a different religion, they're wrong and mine's right or whatever. I'm not one of those people. I actually like to learn different religions, and I actually like to make my own mind up about it. I don't need someone preaching at me going, "Well, that's the devil." Well, you know what? That's just your opinion. You don't know for sure. You don't have any clue. Why don't you do the research, look it up yourself, and then come back and have an opinion on something that's, you know, once you're educated. But a lot of these people, they're just so quick to judge, and they're like, well, my religion's better than yours, and they're all stuck up about it. And I've actually gotten, I believe, unfriended on Facebook, good old Facebook, because I'm not all God and preachy and all that. Like, people know me as I love Halloween, so that's a Satan holiday. So there goes, that. Like, oh, you're a Satan worshiper because you love Satan, and Halloween is Satan's birthday and all this other crap. It's like, oh my God, give me a break. Give me a break, people. It is not like that at all. So, I mean, if my love for Halloween is a problem to people, well then I guess it's a problem. Then I guess I'm a Satan worshiper because shit, I love Halloween. It's like, oh my God. People need to like really educate themselves before coming at me with stuff, because I'm not going to sit there and like, I can like more than one religion. There's no rule saying you have to stick just to one religion and one religion only. You have to stick to this or you're going to hell. Well, you know what? Some of the religions other religions, there is no heaven or hell. There's just like, you get reincarnated, or there's other things out there. I mean, there's all kinds of things, like going back into nature and then you're being reincarnated into the next thing to live your next life. There's all kinds of things. And is it wrong, is it right? Does anybody really know what happens when we die? Does anyone know where we go when we die? Nobody knows. So why put just like a little tiny thing into, just going into one religion when we don't even know what happens when we die? We don't know where we're going. We don't know who we're going to be around. For me, this is what I would like to think. I would like to think that I'm going to be reunited with all of my family, my friends, everyone, my cats that pass away, all my pets, everyone. I want to think that I will be doing that. Like, and I will be happy. And I will live, I will be, that way. But I also feel like I'm more free. I feel like I'm a free-spirited person. Like, I love the moon and the stars. And I love just being able to put my feet on the ground and feel grounded and having the wind blow through my hair and my soul and just feel connected in a way and feel like it's cleansing me. Or when I'm, running my, going in the shower and I got running water over me and stuff like that, I feel like I'm being cleansed. I mean, you can read all about it and stuff, but you'll find different opinions, you'll find different information and all that stuff, but some of this stuff isn't Satan worship. And if somebody does like Satan and worship Satan or whatever, it's not my business. Like, it's just not. It's their choice. They want to do that stuff, they can do that stuff. It's their life, it's not mine. So I mean, to sit there and like, judge people just by their religion or whatever people judge nowadays, it's just like, you know what? Let people be themselves. It's not you. It's not for you to say. It's for them to make up whatever they're going to want to do in their life, and it's their life. So, I mean, let the people do whatever they're going to do, because as long as they're not hurting anybody, I don't see what the point is of getting into an argument over religion or over politics or over whatever. We all have our own things that we like. I mean, you like what you like, I like what I like. It doesn't mean that we can't get along. It doesn't mean that, we have to stop being friends or whatever have you. It just means we like things that are different, and it's okay to be different. It's not. And today was August 11th. I think it still is. I'm not sure what time it is. But I will say this. There was a post on Facebook, and it kind of reminded me of stuff because I I completely forgot. And yes, I'm going off course again because this is a hangout with me video and it's turning into, I'll just show you the back of this book once again. But that was the witch one. I don't think there's anything else in here that I really want to show you guys or talk about. But anyways, there's an A through Z witch thing in this book, which is kind of cool. Creativity and the craft. But anyways, what I was gonna say and get into is, and there's books. There's books and things like this. Ooh, there's crystals in this picture. I love my crystals. Ooh, those are pretty. One of them looks like fluorite. One of them looks like rose quartz. And I'm not sure what the other ones are, but they look pretty neat. Anyways, what I was going to say is this is important. On August 11th in 2007, there was an incident in the UK. Her name is Sophie Lancaster, and her boyfriend's name was Robbie, and I can't remember his last name. I'm sorry. I think if I did say it, I would probably butcher it, so I'm not going to say it. But Robbie they were walking home one night, and they went through a park because they met some young kids or whatever, young girls or whatever, and they became friends with them because, well, Robbie and Sophie, they dressed differently. They dressed gothic. And they were walking through the park one night and they got Robbie on their way home. Robert was actually thrown on the ground, and the guys started to, because then they met these guys, and these guys picked a fight, and they threw him on the ground, and they started stomping his head with their shoes over and over and over again. And Sophie hung back, and she thought that the guys had left, and so she went to run over to cradle Rob, and her boyfriend at the time. They were together for quite a long period of time, and I believe they were both in their 20s when this happened. I believe Sophie was 20 when this happened, but she had dreadlocks, and they were long. They were black and red. She wore gothic clothes, and so did he, and he had black and red hair as well at that time, I think. And so when the guys left or whatever, her boyfriend was unconscious, Robbie was unconscious, and she came to cradle his head and see if she could help him or whatever. They came back and they beat the hell out of Sophie as well. They left them both unconscious, bleeding to death, basically, on the ground. And they left. And then Sophie and her boyfriend got to the hospital because some people actually called 911. A girl did. And they were in the hospital, and the swelling, like the people, the emergency people, responders, they didn't even know, like, the sex of either one of them when they saw them because their heads were so swollen from all the beating, and they were bleeding and stuff from their ears and everything like that. I mean, they were pretty bad off. And they were brought to the hospital, and at the end of this, within 13 days, Sophie, they pulled the plug on all of her, because she was hooked up to a feeding tube and she was hooked up to machines. She just wasn't able to regain consciousness, and it was bad. I mean, it was really bad. And Robbie, he ended up surviving it. When they pulled the plug 13 days later, he was getting discharged from the hospital, and they were going to have to pull the plug on Sophie because she just wasn't doing well. So she passed away 13 days after this incident. Now, the reason why they got attacked was because they were dressed differently. They never really, I mean, Sophie's mom, I saw a video today, I was watching some YouTube videos, and she said that they never claimed to be goth, but they were dressed in goth or whatever. They were dressed in black clothes, and they had different color hair and stuff. They were different. They were playing out different, and this hate crime was because they were different, not because of anything else. It was because they were different, and this happened in the UK quite a bit. And so I had posted on my Facebook today about Sophie, and August 24th was the day that she passed away, and August 11th was the day that they were attacked. They were attacked in 2007, and Sophie died August 23rd, I believe, in 2007. So you could about imagine. Now, these guys, they got off way easy. They were both 15-year-old boys, and they got off way too easy. Like, we're talking way too easy, in my opinion. They actually, one of them was supposed to do 16 years, and he got 15 and a half years for good behavior. And then the other one is supposed to be in there for 18 years. Now, that's not that even that long. I mean, they killed somebody, and then they attempted to murder the other one. So they murdered two people, almost. I mean, Robert's nearly in, I mean, he was in bad shape as well. And Sophie, I mean, she got it so bad that, it's like, you know what? These kids they shouldn't have never gotten out. Because, I mean, and I don't think that the justice system there did them any justice, did anybody any justice. But, anyways, there's a Sophie Foundation, um, and you guys can go and check that out because it's Sophie Lancaster Foundation, and you can give money and donations to her foundation, and they're basically trying to get the word out that this is a hate crime, and it is. And hate crimes happen all over the United States. They happen all over the world. And so they're trying to get it out. They're trying to get the word out for Sophie or whatever. And this foundation was made by her mother, and her mother passed away I think it was last year, but her mother died in a hospital, and it was unrelated to this incident, but she made sure that she got this foundation started and everything, and it has been ran by her for, I think it was like 14 years, or it could, I mean, I think this is 15 years since the incident. And if her mom passed away a couple years, she was running it for like till 2013 or 2014. Oh, no, wait. Wait, that's not right. That's not right. Maybe 2019? I'm trying to think. I don't remember. I think she passed away in 2019, but she ran it up until that point, and now I believe that there's other people running it from her family. I believe she has a brother, and I believe that, I don't know if her dad passed away. I'm not real sure if her dad's passed away or not, but oh, excuse me again. Oh, I'm trying to just, yeah. Anyways, I feel like that she her mom did the best she could with what she's got, and they actually have bracelets and stuff. I've been meaning to want to do that, and every year I say, yeah, I'm going to do it. And then I forget, like this year I have to get a Sophie bracelet. I have to donate some money for the cause, because that cause is like really something. It means a lot to me because, I mean, people are all different, and we're not all the same. Some of us are not gonna be in this little perfect little box. We're coloring outside the lines. We're going outside the box. And it's okay to be different. It's okay to be yourself. And if anybody has a problem with it, then that's on them. Like, you can't just go around living for people, um, and trying to please everybody, because then you're not going to be happy yourself. So it's okay to be different. It's okay to be out there and everything. And I hope that you guys as viewers understand that, you know what, your all of your imperfections make you beautiful in some way, shape, or form. And also, if you do decide to fit in, guess what, it's like playing Tetris. You disappear. So always make sure that you stick to your uniqueness, stick to your style. It doesn't matter what other people think, it's just what you think about yourself. I have my own self-conscious things. Like, okay, I will put one out there. I'm going to put one out there right now for you guys. I did not weigh this much in high school. I weighed 215 pounds. We're talking 200 or 115 pounds. 115 pounds I weighed. Now, I don't know how much I weigh. I probably weigh around 300 and something. And so that does make me self-conscious. But you want to know what? I really don't care. I'm not that person anymore, and people have got to respect that. Like, and people keep telling me, you're still the same Jennifer that I know, so it don't matter what you weigh. You're always going to be the same person. And it doesn't take away it doesn't take away from me at all. So, I mean, the only reason I get, like, I do sometimes get self conscious is when I go back to Wasika, because I don't want people seeing me, because I do not weigh the same amount. I weigh way more, and I don't want people whispering saying, "Well, look at her." Because you know what? The first thing that I will say to everybody when I enter a room is, I will try to make up some kind of joke or something about my size, just so then it's not the elephant in the room. So I don't have this whispering shit behind my back. Because who wants that? I know I'm not the same person, but neither is a lot of the other kids that I graduated with. Neither are a lot of people that I know. They're not the same people. But that doesn't make me any less of a person just because I've gained weight. I mean, and trust me, I've tried diets and they are fucking nightmares. And I'm sorry about swearing, but my God, like, you want to see me really mad and angry all the time? Put me on a diet and then see, because they are horrible, like freaking horrible. I just, I've tried it and made me really sick, and I had infections from it, and I had a whole bunch of problems from being on diets. I tried the Slim Fast diet. That was the worst thing ever. Like, I was always hungry. And I started chewing gum. Then I ended up having an infection in my mouth because I'm not used to chewing gum all the time. Because I felt like if I chewed the gum, then I had something in my mouth, then I wouldn't have to worry about it. So, I mean, we all have our imperfections. We all have our differences. But you know what? You got to put those aside. You can't worry about what everybody thinks. So now, like, I don't really care if anybody sees me or not. Just know if you do see me and you start whispering behind my back, just know it says something about you and not me. Because I know dang well I'm not the person I was. But neither is anyone else. Neither is anyone else. And I never claimed that I was perfect. Even when I weighed 115 pounds, I still had issues. Like, I still had a lot of issues. But as an adult, I'm beginning to have a lot more issues than what I really want to have. But it's not my choice. Like, it wasn't my choice. Things happened to me early on in my life, and it's affecting me now. So, and I don't know if I have a medical condition that's making me bigger. I don't know if it's stress. I don't know if it's like premenopause, because us women, we go through all kinds of chemical balances, And it sucks. It just sucks for us, you know? We've got a lot going on. So, I mean, who knows what's going on with me? And I don't feel going to a doctor, getting picked and prodded and telling me, "Well, you must go on a diet. You must starve now," because you know what? That's just going to get me so ticked off. Like I can't do that to myself. I'm not going to. And that's a whole nother ball game for me because it gives me PTSD when I feel starving, because when I was younger, I was actually starved. I didn't get enough food. When I went to live, like my mom, my real mom, she drank a lot and she had a boyfriend that abused her badly, like beat her in front of me. And he actually came after me a few times. And as a child, being locked in a room with just a pail to go to the bathroom in, yes, it's embarrassing. But you know what? I'm going to talk about this because why not? I'm going to talk about it. People need to know that this stuff is real, and it's not a fun thing to have to go through. But yeah, I did have a bucket to go to the bathroom, and I was locked in my room for hours on end, not being let out, with my dog and my cat. And they didn't have any bathrooms there either. So you could about imagine what I was living in. And they never cleaned it up. And there was a whole bunch of other things that happened. So, I mean, and if I cried at night for my mom, her boyfriend would not let her come by me, because if he did even see her coming near me and trying to comfort me or anything, he was going to let her have it. And I mean, I'm not talking about just the smack. I mean, he hit her hard and he threw her once over his head and she landed straight on the back side in a van when I was screaming, "That's my mom, leave my mom alone, that's my mom." So don't judge me on all this stuff, because I've had to overcome a lot of shit and I've had to do it myself. I don't have, like, I went to therapists. They don't work. Nothing works for me. Like, medications, they only make me tired. They make me way off, way worse than what I need to be. I don't need that kind of, situations. So, but I get frustrated, like when people sit there and tell me this and that. It's like, you know what? Don't even get me going, because as soon as I go on a diet and I'm starving, I go back to that like 3-year-old little girl getting stuck in my room and being locked in there and being traumatized, because the hunger there is the same hunger as I'm going to go through on a diet. The PTSD is real and it's not going to let up. So I have a lot of like emotional stuff going on, and it's hard to find a therapist to really talk to about this stuff, because I've been to them. One guy thought it was just everything I was talking about was so funny to him. All he would do is sit there and laugh. How is anyone supposed to get any help with that when you have a therapist that thinks everything you're saying is funny? I don't think it's funny at all. Like, I'm trying to get help here and you're not helping. So, I mean, I've had to lift myself out of a whole lot of dark places, because that's all I've had is to depend on myself. Because I didn't go to my parents about this stuff growing up. I didn't go to my dad or my stepmom growing up. I didn't do any of that. I swept it all up under the rug and pretended like it never happened. And now all of a sudden, as I'm an adult, this stuff is coming out from under that rug, and it's really having, it's really making it's taking a toll on me, and it's showing. So I'm not sure exactly what's happening with me. And yeah, I do like sugar. I do eat a lot of sugar. I do drink a lot of pop, and I do things like that. But you know what? I don't smoke cigarettes and I don't do, some of this other stuff. So that's my way of coping, I guess. I have a bad habit. Everybody's got their own bad habits too, and it's easy for people to judge. Well, just don't eat that. Just don't drink that. Just don't do this. Just don't do that. It's not that simple. It really isn't. Especially when you're going through a lot of things. And I go through a lot of stuff every day. I have a lot of anxiety, and I've tried all kinds of different anxiety meds, and they're not working. All they do is make me tired and feel like a zombie. Or a few times on a few different that I've been on, they're known as sedation drugs. They sedate people, and all you get to do is just sit there and watch your life go by, and you can't think straight. You don't have any feelings or thoughts or anything. Everything is just so fogged in your head that all you can do is just sit there and you don't care about anything. And it's like, I'm not living like that. I'm not going to sit there and, you know, sleep for 16 frickin' hours. And they all make me feel groggy and tired, and like I don't have any energy, and I don't have any, it messes with my creativity as well, which really frickin' hurts me because then I feel like I just want to cry. But in order to get my life on track, like there's things that I got to do, and I don't know where to start because, there's things like the emotional stuff has to come before the diet stuff, and I'm not able to find anyone to help me with that. I have to pull myself out of my own dark places. I've learned to rely on myself, and a lot of people are like, how the hell do you do what you do? I don't know. I'm just strong that way. Like, I don't know. And people don't understand. Like, they're like, you've been through so much and stuff. I mean, how the hell did you even get through that? I don't know. It's like, because when you know, basically, I'm on survival mode. I'm on survival mode 24/7. This is what happens to people, when they've been through a traumatic, thing. You can't just get over it. You're not going to just forget about it. There's PTSD involved, so basically it brings you back to that time and place, and you see it as you're living it like you did back in the past. There's nothing I can do about those flashbacks. There's nothing I can do about it. And if something reminds me of it, like for instance, being on a diet and not being able to eat because I was starving when I lived with my mom and her boyfriend because they would eat all the groceries. They wouldn't even share with me. All I had every night was mashed potatoes and gravy, which they made, and it was disgusting. To this day, I have to, when I eat mashed potatoes, if they're the real potatoes, they cannot have lumps in them, or else I'm not going to be able to stomach that. And for the longest time, I did not eat potatoes, but now I'm finally starting to eat, like, some potatoes and gravy and stuff, but it's the box. It's instant. It's not a potato. But, I've been through hell and back. I've been through so much. And so when people sit there and think things are just so simple, it's not that black and white. It's just not. There's a lot of gray area in there, and I try to explain this to people, and sometimes they just don't want to listen or they don't want to hear me. And they just think, oh, but this article here, or this book here will help you. No, it's not. It's not going to help me. I need to get myself under control first, and I cannot starve. As soon as I feel like I'm starving, there's going to be problems in my brain. I'm going to have the PTSD, and I'm going to go right back to that place where I don't want to be. I don't want to live that place anymore. You know what I mean? Like, my animals were abused. I was abused. I didn't get to eat as much. I was locked in a room, with just a bucket to go to the bathroom in. I didn't have any water. I didn't have anything. Like, and I was locked in there for like from after dinner all the way till like maybe noon or 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon just to get put back in there again. So people don't understand. And the dog and the cat, they were doing their business all over the floor. I had a mattress in there. I had to sleep in that room with the poop and the pee and all that stuff. I had to sleep in there. And it was horrible. It wasn't a good experience for me at all. I am so traumatized to this day over this. So if people want to sit there and like judge me or whatever because I've gotten bigger and I can't go on a diet, I can't get myself to do it. leave me the hell alone. Like, you're not any better than me. Just leave me alone. You have not been where I've been. I've had only myself to basically pull myself up out of these dark places. And it's been hell. And I don't expect anyone to understand that. But man, when and I get depressed some days. I have anxiety. I have severe anxiety. And I've had ADHD as a child. And I still have it as an adult. So I'm kind of like all over the place. But mental health, it's no joke. So, I mean, and that's where I'm at with that. Be yourself. Don't. I went off on a tangent, I know, because I do that all the time on these videos. Be yourself. Don't let anybody tell you who to be and who not to be, because they don't know. They don't know your story. They don't know. They don't know what it's like to be you. So, you know what? If you want to be different and you want to color outside line, you do that. You color outside those lines. You get outside the box. No one says you have to stay in that box. Society might tell you you have to stay in the box, but don't. Be you. Do you, Be true to yourself. Be real and raw. Hell, I'm real and raw every day. I really don't care. If people don't like me, then they just don't like me. It's like, well, then that's their problem. Because I'm not going to change because, if there's whispers or whatever, looks or whatever. Some guy the other day, you know what he did to me? Well, it wasn't the other day. It was like a couple years ago. I have bat shoes, and actually they're in here. And I was wearing my bat shoes, and I wear them all over the place. I get compliments on them for the most part. But this guy, I was in Dollar Tree, and he was like, "Oh, look at those bat shoes," and he was laughing. I was like, "Whatever, dude." Like, I ignored him completely, and he didn't even really get to me. But I just remember that because I'm like, now I understand how people are feeling when they tell people, they make videos on YouTube here, and they're different, and they wear different clothes and stuff, different makeup, different hair, everything, which is awesome to me because I'm like, hell yeah, you're comfortable with yourself enough to go outside the box. Now for me, with this hair, I would love to do something different with it, but I don't want to bleach my hair because if I do, it's going to do a whole bunch of damage to my hair. I'm going to have split ends. And I like my long hair, okay? So it's quite long right now. I'm growing it out. And yes, I have different hair, a little bit of different color hair. I tried to dye my hair this like purplish black color, and it did not work. I left it on my hair over an hour and it did not work. It didn't even like turn my hair any color. And so I was kind of disappointed about that because I wanted black with purple tint to my hair. I thought that would have been kind of neat. My hair is originally black, but since I'm getting older or whatever, it's starting to lighten up. But you can kind of see where it's lighter than, and I'm going to dye it again. I'm going to dye it back to where like my ends are that are black. And this is like my normal hair color anyways, how dark it is. That's my normal hair color. I was born with dark hair. So, and I love my hair. I used to hate it. I used to want to be a blonde all the time and all this stuff because, well, the stereotypes. Oh, blondes have more fun and da 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 da. And that's not necessarily true. We all know that hair color does not have a preference for fun, who has the most fun. It's whoever, makes themselves have more fun. That's the thing. That's the key to it. Not hair color, not body size, nothing like that. And I'm not trying to get on anyone who's blonde or anything. That's not where I'm going with this. People are people. I never see any difference in people at all. I don't care, what color hair you have, if you're different, if what your eye color is, what your skin color is, whatever. We're all people. As long as people treat each other with respect and are nice to each other, I don't have a problem with anybody at all. So, like, that's one of those things that I don't see. I don't see like different. I see people who are trying to express themselves and be who they are, and just, they're comfortable in their skin. And that's who I see when I look at someone and I'm thinking, wow, that's pretty awesome. I will go up to someone I don't even know, and I'll compliment them on their hair color, or if I like their dress, or if I like their shoes or their purse, or whatever I can find. I will compliment people on stuff. So there is no shame. Don't be ashamed of being who you are. Everyone has their own imperfections, even the perfect people that you think that they don't have imperfections, they do. And they will have, they will do. Mooney's trying to get attention from me. She she loves attention. Don't ya, Miss Moon Pie? Are you gonna come down? Well, you're not gonna go on the books. And of course, these magazines might have to be done a different time because I'm already running into the 2 hour and 35 minute mark on my video already, because, well, I'm just, kind of getting off course like I normally do. But you guys understand that there is nothing wrong with trying to be you. And be you, be real, be raw. Let people see in. And I'm not saying trust everybody when you first meet them either or anything. I've got my guards up to the point where it's like I don't trust very many people, but I do, put myself out there to a certain extent. Like, people know I love cats, people know I love Halloween, people know I love the color black, purple, red, and white and silver. That's because I put it out there. So don't be afraid to show people who you really are and be the true you, because being real is just so important, because you only get so much time in this world to make a difference. And wouldn't you like to, you know, let people know who you really are, instead of trying to pretend to be someone who you're not and try to fit into this little box that society tells us we have to be. Oh, we have to be this height, or we have to be this weight, or this whatever. Fill in the blank. It's important to be you, do you. Just, because you're only going to get so much time in this world, and time is too short not to do the things you want to do and be the person who you want to be. So, I mean, with that, take that, as as what you will, and run with it, because I want people to know that you can do whatever you want. Be whoever you want. If you want piercings, go out and get piercings. You want some tattoos? Go ahead and get tattoos. You want to wear black and be gothic? Be gothic, wear black. Enjoy the music. You know? You want to be somebody else? Then be that person. Like what you like. Everybody's unique, and I feel like they need to have their uniqueness because it makes you shine. It really does. It makes you shine. It makes you stand out. Why be all the same when you're born to stand out and shine? So, I mean, don't ever be afraid of that. And, so what? I've gained weight. So what? It doesn't mean that I'm less of a person inside. It doesn't mean that, oh my God, I can't be beautiful, or I can't do this, or I can't do that, because guess what? I'm still going to do whatever I want. I'm still going to be who I am. I'm going to wear black. I'm going to be gothic because that's who I am. I love Halloween. I love the gothic music. I also love mainstream music, though. I like Avril Lavigne, and I love Ozzy, and I don't have to just love one thing. I can be whatever I want to be. And if I want to wear black all the time, and I want to be spooky, and I'm enjoying my life and not hurting anyone. And if I want to celebrate Halloween every day instead of just the 31st of October, I can do that. We all can do that. We all have that freedom to do whatever we want and be who we want to be. Life is too short, guys. Live your best life. And I'm not even kidding. Like, let's just live our best lives. And of course, these magazines aren't going to get into, so I'll probably just do some more later, and maybe it'll be a series or something like that or whatever. But this is just kind of like a hangout with me video, and I was going to show you some of the magazines. And also, I wanted to, before I'm going to leave, because, well, it is 2 hours in and 39 minutes now. I wanted to show you a quick craft thing that since we're just kind of hanging out and I'm just talking about certain things. And I wish Mother Nature would have helped me because I really would have loved to hear some thunder tonight on a video. Watch, I'll get done with this video and it'll start raining and thundering and storming. But earlier it was, but now it's not, which sucks. But anyways, guys, here's a quick craft idea for you guys. And this doesn't take much. This rose came from Dollar Tree, and you can see that there's like a ribbon on it. I'm just going to show you the rose here. And there's a ribbon on it. I tied it and I double knotted it or whatever. I use these roses, and I just found them tonight in my... I forgot where they were. I was trying to find them and I couldn't find them. And then I thought, wait a minute, they're in the vase in the bedroom. Because in Jennifer's layer here, I have curtains and they're black see-through curtains. So they're really cool. But I was using these on the other curtains in the bedroom, but they were in a vase because we don't have curtains anymore. So, because we have blinds. But these in particular, they're used. This is just a fun craft. You take a rose, you put some ribbon on it. It doesn't matter how, what you want to use for ribbon. You can use different color roses. They don't even have to be black if you don't want them to be black. I just love black, so that's what I went with. They could be purple, red, pink, whatever color would go with your room. And then what you do is you use them to tie back your curtains. So I've got these two, so I use this and I'll tie them in a little bow and they'll tie back my curtains. And then I've got this beautiful rose and tied back my curtains. So these are my tie backs for my room. And I just remembered where they were. I have 4 of them. And I have 3 windows, so I'm going to have to make 2 more. But I actually have a stash of these roses, so I've got more than enough to make more. And I've actually got a big roll, a big roll of this stuff, so I actually have a lot of it. So, so that's like something you guys could try off of Dollar Tree items. And it's only going to cost you probably about $2 because really, I mean, you're going to do the ribbon, but you're going to have to get a big kind of a spool of it possibly. So it may cost you a little bit more, but I mean, for the project, technically, since you're only using like this much out of, the roll that you're going to buy, that's, I'm not even sure how much this is for just this much ribbon. And then the flower was $1 at Dollar Tree. Now Dollar Tree has went up on their prices, so technically it's gonna be like $1.25, I think. And you get you get a bunch of these together, but I just, you can cut them apart and then move the flowers up or whatever. So you cut them with the wire cutter and you can get a nice little thing for them, but they're like $1.25 then, and I think you get like 7 or 6 in a bouquet, and you just cut them apart, and then you can tie the things around, and then you've got wraparound roses for your curtain rods, and they'll look nice. So, and they're tie backs for your curtain rods. And you can also, you don't have to tie them either. I mean, if you want to get hooks for them, you could also just tie them and then hang them up on the hook. And then when you want your curtains closed, then you can just, but mine mostly stay open. Whew. Excuse me, my nose is itchy again too. Somebody must be talking about me. But anyways, guys, that's just a quick little craft thing I came about, and I figured, you know what? I'm doing a hangout with me video, might as well just just do whatever I do and go with the flow. But you guys, like I said before, I mean, it's very important to have fun in your life. Just have fun. Do some crafts, be yourself. And, you know, and we'll go through these magazines a different time, because I didn't expect this video to be so long, but I went through ghost stories, and then I went through, and we're just kind of hanging out anyway. So it wasn't like, oh yeah, this video is like not a good video now. I think it is a good video because we've gotten through so many awesome things. Anyways, guys, I'm going to let you go because it is getting probably pretty late here and I'm starting to yawn again. And I hate yawning. But I do it on every video because I'm so tired all the time and I'm like, ugh. And I do a lot of stuff around the house too and everything, so it gets me very tired. And it's the nighttime. It's probably past 9 o'clock now. It's probably going on maybe midnight, possibly here. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna let you guys go. Um, and again, I kind of apologize for the long videos, but then not really because I mean, I like talking to you guys. And so, it's fun. It's fun talking with you guys and sharing stories and doing all of this stuff and talking about things that I really am interested in, like ghosts and hauntings and haunted places and witchy stuff and other things and just going wherever the wind takes us, pretty much. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna, like I said before, I'm gonna have to let you go. I hate letting you go. It's kind of awkward sometimes, I swear to God. That's probably why I do what I do. But anyways, guys, please subscribe to my channel if you like what you see here. Don't forget to click on the bell so you get notifications when I have new videos. Stay spooky, stay safe, and stay sane too. Stay sane, stay safe, stay spooky, and stay spooktacular. And enjoy Halloween. I hope you guys are getting everything off your Halloween wish lists. And thank you guys so much again. If you've lasted this long and hanging out with me, thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you guys so very much. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. You won't be sorry. Be a part of our spooky family. And I guess with that, I'll see you next time on Jennifer's Lair. Bye.